When Dr. Aaron Hale finally arrived, his face bore the deep, bone-weary fatigue of too many sleepless hours and countless difficult conversations. He carried an official folder, the kind with tabbed pages and an adhesive label that bore the word every family feared: prognosis. He didn't look at Kelly immediately. He first looked at Mark, at the lines on the monitor, at the tubing that sustained life in someone who had once been a whirlwind of energy in every room he entered. "Mrs. Ripa," Aaron said softly. He recognized Kelly as much by her voice as by her face. There was a warmth about her that lingered, even in this harsh fluorescent light. "I'm Dr. Hale. I took over the case 2 weeks ago." Kelly opened her eyes and offered a tired, grateful smile. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice trembling, though she swallowed the quiver. "How is he?" Aaron hesitated. He had rehearsed this speech countless times, testing different sequences of clinical precision and empathetic truth. Nothing ever felt enough. "He's stable," he began, "but it's fragile. He remains on life support. His brain activity is limited. We are monitoring closely. Any change could swing either way." Kelly pressed her fingers against the titanium of her wedding band, as if it anchored her to reality. "Is he going to wake up?" The question came out in the faintest whisper. "Mrs. Ripa," Aaron said, choosing his words carefully, "I can't predict the future. We cannot guarantee recovery." Kelly nodded. The vaccine of hope had been diluted. She knew well the kind of answers hospitals provided. Yet there was something more in Aaron's stance, a subtle tremor hinting at hidden truths. There are 2 kinds of doctorly truths, he reflected internally. The one spoken, sanitized and measured, and the one you feel deep in your bones. That night, when Kelly finally asked the questions she had held inside for days, Aaron bore the weight of both. They spoke until dawn. He described the injuries, the procedures, the tests, the CT scans, the small miracles, and the stubborn complications. He recounted the moment he inserted the breathing tube, when Mark's breast rose and fell with the machine's mercy. When the conversation quieted, Kelly asked softly, "Is there anything else? Anything I should know?" Aaron looked at her, and somewhere in his chest, something gave way. He had kept a shadowed memory tucked away for reasons he could not entirely name: fear of causing pain, fear of legal repercussions, fear that his own words could betray him. Yet he had promised himself honesty when it mattered most. "Mrs. Ripa," he said, "there is something I need to tell you. It isn't a medical fact you'll find in a chart. It's—" He stopped. The room seemed to hold its breath. Kelly leaned forward, cupping her chin like a child. Aaron folded his hands, as if restraining them from betraying him. He had been part of the team that took Mark from the ER gurney and stitched him back together with modern medicine's delicate touch. But he had also been there earlier, before the ambulance, on a rain-slicked street, in a doorway where he made a choice. Ethical, immediate, seemingly small, yet it had frayed into something far more consequential. There was a call, a private call, not from the hospital. A man, frantic, asking for help to get someone in. We were already stretched thin. The paramedics were delayed. The man had influence. He said the patient was a friend who needed privacy. Kelly's brow furrowed. Who was he? "I recognized him," Aaron admitted. "Well connected. He insisted we keep the case low profile, avoid the ER until the situation was controlled. I didn't realize then how dangerous that would be." Kelly's pulse quickened. "Wait, are you saying Mark didn't come through the ER?" Aaron shook his head. He arrived at the hospital, but the path was unusual. He came through a private entrance. He was intoxicated.
given sedatives and other substances. When we scanned him, we found anomalies we couldn't immediately test. We stabilized him, but there was delayed cerebral edema, swelling that didn't respond as expected. The longer we waited to get him into the full ER, the more time the toxins had to act. Kelly's face tightened. Who gave him those things? Aaron's hands twitched like someone playing the piano with one finger. He didn't administer them himself. Silence filled the room. Kelly's mind raced through names and scenarios, trying to stitch together the impossible truth. "You know who?" she asked. Aaron's response rearranged everything. "Yes, I won't say the name, not yet, but I know who it is, and he asked me to delay public notification to handle things
Kelly felt the air
quietly."
tilt, metallic in her mouth. Rage burned along her arm. "You didn't tell me." "I told the team what was medically necessary. I didn't want to create a spectacle while he was unstable. I thought we could protect him." "Protect him from what?" "From the truth," Aaron said. Kelly's voice sharpened. Exhausted pity had hardened into fury. She pictured Mark's fragile, peaceful face, the man who had kissed her every morning for 25 years. She thought of their private life, the sanctuary their marriage had been. Why would someone do this to him? Aaron looked away. Rumors, Mrs. Ripa, complicated ties, money, influence. I only know fragments. I agreed to delay a full ER intake, thinking a controlled approach would reveal nothing criminal. I was wrong. Kelly's chest tightened. She imagined the call, the quiet menace, the swift calculus leading to this room. She felt gutted, not just for Mark, but for how the world could twist people into instruments of secrecy. "Who is protecting him now?" she whispered. "When I filed the initial reports, I omitted the private entrance detail. I documented only the clinical facts. It was intended to protect confidentiality and expedite care. But now it's part of an investigation. The state police are involved. The public will demand answers." Kelly thought first of her children, then of Mark's career, then of the media vultures ready to dissect every detail. Outside, the heavy rain gave way to a brittle dawn. Kelly lowered her head, tasting salt at the corners of her eyes. "You said dark confession. Is that it? That you kept a detail from the records?" Aaron laughed bitterly. "Part of it, yes, but there's more." He reached into his coat and produced a small folded scrap of paper. It looked absurd in the sterile light, a relic from another life. He unfolded it carefully. On the page, in hurried scrawl, was a list. Names, times, shorthand that mapped a clandestine world. "This was left in the private entrance," Aaron explained. "At first I thought it was just acquaintances, but then I noticed a pattern. Some names are charity donors. Some have media business ties. One has influence over law enforcement. There was an instruction: handle quietly. No calls, no leaks." Kelly's breath came shallow. "Why tell me this?" "I cannot bear for you to learn it from a headline," Aaron said. "If the truth emerges later, I wanted you to hear it from me. I regret my choices. I thought I was managing a crisis, protecting people who didn't need protection. Now, Mark pays the price." The word regret burned like a small coal. Kelly felt a spark between them. She thought of the private entrance, the list, the pattern of power shielding itself. Her instinct for justice, truth, and her husband's dignity surged. "Do you have names?" she asked, brittle and precise. Aaron shook his head. "No definite one. There are clues, a donor, a lawyer, a private number, but I cannot give evidence I do not have. What I can give is the truth of my failure to follow protocol.
I did not document the private intake properly. I didn't push for a full police report when circumstances seemed suspicious. That was a mistake." Kelly imagined the chain reactions. Influence had funneled Mark into a private room where unknown substances were administered. "That was not a mistake," she said. "It was a violation. It turned tragedy into possible crime. It made the hospital a place of obfuscation." She pushed back her chair and paced in a small loop, rehearsing 1,000 ways to demand answers and protect her children. Anger and grief warred inside her. "What do you want me to do?" she asked finally. Aaron's gaze was steady. "Insist on transparency. Demand a full investigation. Request logs, entry times, security footage. If anyone intervened to keep this quiet, it must be on record. I will cooperate. I will sign anything. I will recount exactly what I told you." Kelly considered calling her manager, lawyer, or publicist, intermediaries between her private life and the world. She considered the power of cameras, money, and empty promises of silence. Practicality knew there would be consequences. Humanity knew she could not let her husband be hidden in secrecy. "I'll do it," she said. "I'll get the lawyers. We'll demand the footage."